Disclaimer. Extended satirical material on this podcast may strike some viewers as vulgar, offensive, or, worst of all, serious. This is satire. Please adjust your expectations and interpretations accordingly.
You recently did an interview for Pigeon magazine in which you were playing the part of a princess. Tell us about that experience.
You know, it's so funny that you say playing the part of a princess. I am a princess.
Yes, no, I know, but for the magazine interview, you were playing the part of a delusional made-up princess.
You know, it's so funny that you say playing the part of a delusional made-up princess. I am a delusional made-up princess.
Yes, of course. And what made you choose Pigeon?
I told my agent, find me the biggest, hottest magazine out there. But they wouldn't have me. So I decided to come to Pigeon instead. I think because I like the name, it reminds me of those dirty, funny-looking things you always see loads of fluttering around Buckingham Palace. Peasants, I think they're called.
You mean pheasants?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm delighted to join your little podcast. I just love taking something ordinary and elevating it.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say. You've also worked with a large amount of different charities. Have you always been a charitable person?
I always remember when the earthquake in Haiti happened, and I was there with them, sifting through the rubble, rescuing people in spirit, as I couldn't make it there in person, unfortunately. I was filming Suits at the time. But I always remember being there with them in spirit, together, looking in those innocent eyes and telling them, "Hello, my name is Meghan." And they said, we know. And I watched as they built a statue of me from all the debris. So yes, I've always been a charitable person. It's part of who I am. And then when I married Haz, it was amazing as we could do charity every day. But it was like every single day, it was too much. So we took a break forever. And now that's allowed us to both rediscover my own happiness. Our own happiness.
That's lovely to hear. Do you have any hobbies?
Oh, I like climbing, but I only do it socially.
You climb socially.
Oh my gosh, I just got a message from Beyonce.
Your phone didn't even ping.
No, silly, telepathically.
Oh.
She said, I'm amazing and I should keep nailing it in this interview. OMG, yes, crazy coincidence. That's just what I was thinking I should do.
I take it you're a huge Beyonce fan?
Yes, of course. She is incredible. And I love that you said mutual fans, because it's two women lifting each other up, which is always beautiful.
Have you two spent a lot of time together?
Yes, in a way. For the longest time, I've been watching her sing, and she'll have been watching me act, I've no doubt.
Do you miss your acting career?
I think it helped prepare me nicely. I remember back to when I was known more for being a renowned actress in my various roles, such as Rachel from Suits, or Rachel from Suits Season 2, and Rachel from Suits Season 3.
Yes, I think I see your point. Did you do much beyond Rachel from Suits?
Well, besides Rachel from Suits, I also played Meghan in the Suits promotional tour. Oh, and I also play Meghan today in this interview.
And now also Princess Sparkle for Pigeon's inaugural magazine. Who's your favorite princess?
I always believe that whatever you do should come from a place of self-love and care. And if you're not your own favorite, then there's something seriously wrong in that situation. It has to be.
No, but come on. Apart from you, who's your favorite princess? And by the way, don't say Kate Middleton either.
No, I won't.
Okay. Do you have a favorite fairy tale?
It's so funny. When I was a little girl, I actually wrote a fairy tale when I was 3. It was called The Little Girl Who Ran Away to Join the Theater and Did a Play and Then Married a Prince. And that play was called Suits.
This all seems very hard to believe.
Yes, I know, right? That's why it's a fairy tale. But it came true.
That's unbelievable.
Thank you. It's amazing that even someone with the mind of a 3-year-old can invent these stories like I did.
Have you always been a natural creative?
Of course. I remember one example. I suggested to the royal family we should do a Real Housewives of Buckingham Palace, but they were against it every step of the way.
I see. So, do you have any regrets yourself?
Of course, don't we all? Probably my main regret is, the way that everyone else has acted. That's the thing that's most regrettable, in my opinion.
What's your favorite thing to do after a long day?
Probably something normal, like making homemade pasta. I'm just normal Meg.
What's the secret to your homemade pasta?
Ginger. You always want to control the ginger.
And the best way to do that?
If I'm honest, it just comes from careful planning. That's the secret to any relationship.
Interesting. What else keeps your relationships fulfilling?
It's funny you ask that. One really fun thing I like to surprise Haz with is I cut out pictures of my face and I stick them over pictures of his mother's face so that he finds them later in old photo albums, and it's as though we're always getting closer to each other. Yeah, I also found out what perfume she used to wear, so I soak all my clothes in it for him, and I've never mentioned it to him. It's just these little things I do to keep the relationship loving and committed. I don't need to tell him or, get credit. I don't need a thank you. I'm strong enough that I can thank myself. Thank you, Meghan. See? It's all about growing into your confidence and practicing self-care. And thank you, Meghan, for sharing that. That's okay, anytime. That is, I feel, a much healthier place to make your nest in. I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to replace Harry's mother. Of course not. I specifically only want Harry to think it.
You clearly believe strongly in self-love and self-confidence. Where does that come from?
I'm glad you noticed that. I honestly didn't think I did anything special, but everyone else seems to disagree. But I must say, well done you for noticing. It usually takes people much longer to pick up on my talents. It comes from just listening to yourself and your own opinions.
You once said you don't read reviews of any of your work. When did you first know you were above feedback?
Always. I never actually read a single review. Oh, but I do have my assistant read them to me. I used to have her write them as well. But these days, I just ask Siri to find positive, supportive reviews about my work.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, look, I'll show you. Hey Siri, remember that thing we were talking about?
Yes, which people have to die before you become the queen?
Oh, no, not that. The thing about the positive reviews?
There were no positive reviews on your search for shock collar for personal assistance.
No, Siri. The thing about everyone loves me? The point is, I try to live a life of positivity.
I see. And you've also been very outspoken about mental health.
Absolutely. I'm such an advocate for being healthy and being mental. I always say to everyday women that if even I can struggle while living in a mansion surrounded by stylists, nutritionists, helicopters, then anyone can.
Both you and Harry have become vocal about mental health. What's that journey been like?
Oh, it's been great. Harry has really leaned into therapy. He's honestly gotten so much better with his emotions. Sometimes I'll just go to Harry and hug him and, he'll just start to silently cry.
Wow. And he didn't used to cry like that?
No, he never used to cry before he met me. We've come a long way.
And what role does Harry play in your healing?
Oh, Harry's been a massively vital part of my mental health. When we first met, if I cried, he would Google things like empathy for Americans and how to emotionally support your CEO. How to emotionally support your wife. But now it's easier as we've spent so much time together. He knows if I get upset, he should just stay quiet and go to his corner.
What's the key to staying mentally healthy from your perspective?
For me, it's about boundaries. Like saying no, for example, if somebody asks if they can have time away to visit their dying grandmother. That's negative energy you don't need around you, so setting boundaries is essential. And another thing that really helps is positive affirmations. The first thing I do after I wake up is I meditate in front of a mirror and I tell myself I'm enough, but louder and louder and louder and louder until Harry wakes up on the sofa and goes to start my bath. It's just a beautiful way for us to both wake up, with my joy bringing light into his life.
Where does this joyous spirit come from, do you think?
Everyone has their own simple joys that give life meaning. It might be different for everyone. It could be as simple as the joy of hard work or knowing that you've done the right thing by someone.
And so for you, I assume it's not those. What's yours?
I think for me, it's just seeing the look on someone's face when you've really shown up for them and they're delighted to see you, or seeing that look of defeat in Harry's eyes every day, or noticing the fear in an assistant's face when they mess up your order. Just, little everyday things like that.
I see. You also generously spend your time writing children's books, and Pigeon can exclusively reveal today you're now planning on publishing a book of poems for children as well.
Well, I don't know if it's much of a reveal when it's on this little podcast.
Well, we're honored anyway. It might be fun if I could read a poem from your book to our audience.
Yes, of course. Let's treat them to it. Then we can work out any licensing after the episode airs.
Okay, great. This poem is called Just Lucky, I Guess, by Meghan Markle. I'm just like you, and you, and you, and even you. I still go to the grocery store, the Whole Foods in Malibu. The lights, the praise, the endless fans I see, it still feels quite surreal to little old me. They say I shine, but I don't try. It must be the way the light hits my eyes. My life is simple, nothing much to see, just jets and deals and has worshiping me. They tried to cut me down a peg, but they can't hurt a girl like Meg.
Yes.
That's very nice.
Yes, thank you. That was amazing.
And it's called Just Lucky, I guess.
Yes, I almost called that one An Ode to the Infinite Echo of the Duchess. But I went with a simpler title, as I don't want to lose people with the words I'm using.
And the poem's about how you feel about yourself.
No, it's not really about me. It's written in the first person so that anyone can relate to it.
It says the name Meg in it.
It's actually so funny that you think I'm the Meg. It's a different Meg.
No, but you can see how...
Sat on the pedestal of my ineffable mind, my soul weeps in languages I've not yet chosen to invent. The moon consults me nightly, hearing whispers from my soft lips, jealous of my illumination, yet humbled by my restraint.
Well, that's another love...
I wear eternity like a bespoke waistcoat. Do not seek to understand me. I am a constellation of enigmas, a sonnet scrawled across a collapsing star.
Right. Wow.
I wrote that one when I was a little girl. When I was 3.
So, when can people buy your poem book?
Just waiting for a publisher. We're waiting to hear back from Penguin.
Haven't heard of them. I assume it's like a cheap version of Pigeon. Anyway, how big of a change was it for you going public with Prince Harry?
So when me and Has first went public, it was a crazy change. But Has was always there for me. I just remember saying to him, wow, Has boy, is it just me, or is everyone suddenly paying attention to whenever I walk in a room more than they normally do? I remember when we got back to the room alone, I turned to Hasabum and he said, "Oi, Megan, you're so different from the other strippers I've been with." And that's when we knew things were going to be different forever.
That sounds like a big change to go through.
It was. And the next thing was meeting the family, which was obviously hilarious. I didn't know who the royal family was. Me and Hasabum Shakalaka were driving down in the car, and he said, my grandma is the queen, so you'll need to curtsy. And I saw the queen, and I thought he was joking. So I said, "Ooh, hello, queen." It's so funny. And I did this big bow, and I grabbed her little hat and, crown, I think they called it. And I said, "Where'd you get this one from, Pandora?" And then I did another bow and I said, "Ooh, look at me. I'm from old-fashioned times." It's so funny. And any Americans listening can relate to this. We just don't know, as we didn't grow up with it.
People have said you're out of touch. How would you respond to that?
That's only from people who don't know me. Anyone who does know me knows I talk to real people all the time. My driver, my makeup artist, my kids, just nameless, everyday people. Literally, just this morning, I was talking to my makeup artist cousin. I said, "Hi, lovely to meet you. I'm Megan. I pay makeup artists to do her work. Even though I have more of a natural look, it's nice to keep her around." And then it's so lovely. I mean, makeup artist cousin started to tell me her whole life story. So, I just listened, as I just love listening to real, everyday people. It's so fascinating and amazing. And I said, "You're amazing. Never forget that. Decaf latte, please. Thank you so much." And we went away, best friends.
That's lovely. What was her name?
No, you don't understand. These are just nameless, everyday people. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So you just mean they weren't celebrities.
Exactly, they weren't. And yet I still made a connection because that's so important to show someone that you still care about them, even if they're nothing.
But her name? You don't even know what to call her?
Well, I'll probably call her D, short for decaf coffee, so we both can remember it better.
Is coffee that important to you?
I remember the last time I sent someone to get coffee. It was in Buckingham Palace. The whole royal family was sat around the dining room, and I sent Hazabear to go and make everyone coffee. And as shocking as it is to hear, they actually speculated on what color the coffee will be. But I won't say who said it. And then the Queen said, "I hope it's not too black." So after that, I decided to quit the world of caffeine for good. Decaf only. And obviously Harry also had to quit caffeine forever too.
Is that when you decided to quit the whole royal family?
It was a part of it. The final straw was when the palace told me that I couldn't brand myself independently and live off taxpayer money. It felt like quite a big violation. I essentially had to be forever beholden to taxpayer, whoever he is. Also, there was the time that they edited out the footage where I wailed during the Remembrance Day moment of silence, showing how much I care about the soldiers who have Alzheimer's or whatever it is.
And how is your life now compared to back then?
Oh, I'll say it's a beautiful chaos. One moment I'm posing for Time magazine's most influential in the world cover, and the next moment you're around someone changing diapers for your kids. So it can be a huge variety, a beautiful chaos.
I didn't even know you'd had that cover. Congratulations.
I haven't yet, but I was posing for it in front of the mirror, so yeah, I'm ready just in case.
And what's been the biggest shock since leaving?
There was one particular tough day. I remember crying. It felt like everything was going wrong. I had just been told that I couldn't trademark the word empathy. The world was against me.
What did you do to get through that?
I lit a candle and rewatched the Oprah interview.
It brings back happy memories?
I just love how private it was. Such a private moment.
So what's been the biggest thing you're able to do now that you weren't able to do as a member of the royal family?
Well, I've had Harry completely rebranded.
What about Harry's brand image did you want to change?
No, I mean literally had him branded with the word Meghan, like a cow.
What made you do that?
It's just such a pure symbol of our love.
So now how would you like to be known by people if you could?
Nothing huge. I just want to be known as a kind person who treats everyone well, both on and off screen. Like Ellen.
That's very humble of you.
Humility is something that I've always admired, especially my own. Honestly, people often underestimate how humble I actually am, which is so crazy to me. Because to my friends and family, I'm just Meg. But outside of that, because people have this first impression, like, "Oh my God, it's Meghan. You're so smart, incredible, gorgeous," whatever they think. So, I never ask for attention. It just naturally seems to want to find me.
It's a mystery.
Hazawaza keeps saying that I have charisma, but I just think I'm relatable.
Was it your natural charisma that led you into acting? Did you always know you wanted to act?
I always remember when I was 2 years old, I asked my mother, "Mama, why do actresses get paid less than actors when they do the same job, especially on Suits?"
How could Suits even be out when you were 2 years old?
It's really generous of you to admit how impressive my age was. It shows great character. Thank you. But don't feel intimidated in the least. I don't consider myself superior. It's just on my own type of level, and it's just rare to find people at my level. That's all.
Wow, it's another unbelievable story. So tell me, as an actor, what would be your dream movie role?
Oh, yes. I can just picture it perfectly now. Winning the Oscar at the awards ceremony in a beautiful gown, giving my acceptance speech.
But for what role?
Oh, whichever.
I was actually watching your show on Netflix.
What was your favorite moment? If you even can, just pick one.
Well, I really liked how much drone footage of your chickens there was.
I wasn't fishing for compliments, but since you brought it up, thank you. They're actually rescue chickens.
Where did you rescue them from?
I'm pretty sure a rescue chicken just means we don't abuse them or beat them. So they're rescued from people that would do that, like Camilla. And we only have killed them so we can eat them, not for pleasure or sport, so they're rescued.
I see. Well, it's noble of you to ensure they're treated well before they're eaten. Before we go, do you want to tell us a little bit about your own podcast, Archetypes?
Yes, I can't believe how many compliments I get about that. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing. The podcast is a space for women to have their voices heard, especially my voice. And it gives me the chance to interview other powerful women and then tell them my perspective on things. It's healing. And I'm so glad I inspired so many people to start making podcasts like yourselves.
Oh, no, we didn't.
I'm used to people trying to copy my ideas. It's flattering. I hardly even notice. It's becoming routine, like background noise.
Okay. Final question. What's in the future for Meghan Markle?
That's so funny. Who's Meghan Markle? It's Mrs. of Sussex.
Yes, of course, Mrs. of Sussex. What's next for you?
I'll be continuing my career, developing shows. My next show I'm going to do is a reboot of Suits, where I play every character to show young girls everywhere that Meghan really can do anything. Meghan just needs to set her mind to it.
And your characters will be, what, solving legal cases in the show?
I'll be doing all the usual stuff people do at work. Cutting ribbons, getting your picture taken, the day-to-day work stuff.
I see. Well, thank you for doing this podcast with Pigeon.
It's been a pleasure having me, I'm sure.
Tune in next week for another Pigeon podcast, the Totally Real Celebrity Interview Show.